So why don't you give the listeners maybe 5 tips of, okay, they're struggling with trying to lose weight. This caught their attention. They're thinking, okay, what I want this. Everybody wants this. I want to feel good in my clothes. I want to lose weight. I've struggled with it. I feel like I've tried every option. What are the let's give them a couple tips coming out of here.
So I think number one, when I sit down with people, is I really want to begin with your health begins in your mind. So we really want to create this awareness about what your beliefs are, what you want, what your self awareness is, because we all have those. Your why, what's your drive, your emotional connection. Are you taking? What are the one steps we're going to take? So I kind of always lead into that because once we
They got to
create
get their mind right.
we got to get their mind right, create that framework, and really hit hard that we're going to really walk out of here today doing one or two things. We're not doing 20.
Okay.
We're doing one or two. So now they have the belief right now that I can do this. It's not that hard. You don't want to make it hard. Number two is you have to start venturing down a little bit about understanding stress, because if your stress button, which is physical, is on, your fight or flight's on, you're going to have a difficult time losing weight. Because when your fight or flight button is on, again, we all have it, but if it's chronically on, the chronic stress, the physical stress, the body's going to create stress hormones, and one of those stress hormones is called cortisol. And cortisol is a storing hormone. So on the other side of the equation is your lean,
So cortisol survival, which makes
survival,
sense. Storage.
adrenaline, aldosterone. Those are all survival. And then you have your building or your growth,
Thriving.
your thriving hormones, and that's your testosterone, estrogen, whatever. So when the stress hormones are on, the thriving hormones are off. So if you don't get people to understand that, they're always going to feel like they're climbing up the hill. Mm-hmm. So once they get that, understand, we're going to talk about breathing and maybe reframing, but we're going to talk about stress. And then from there, we move into gut health, because you can't have good gut health if you're always in fight or flight. So now we get the gut health. You're building the garden of a gut. You get the gut healthier.
Real foods.
So now the body's really, you don't have to take a probiotic. You start eating real foods. You eat an apple, water with lemon. You're just doing that. You're building that good gut health. And then from there, as simple as that starts sounding, then you start adding some things to their diet. Make sure they're drinking enough water. Maybe it's an omega-3 fat like the cod liver
I think that's
oil.
so we're on number 4 of the 5 tips, but I haven't heard you say cut out,
Never. I never say cut out. In fact,
Upgrade.
I had a woman and a man the other day as a couple, and they said, "You haven't told me what I can't eat." I said, "I'm not going to ever tell you that. I want you to slowly, if you like wine, make sure your wine is good. If you like pizza, make sure your pizza's good. Don't be wasting your pizza on some crummy pizza." So
Okay.
we're going to crowd the crummy stuff slowly out by adding stuff into your diet.
And those are some of the nutrients we always talk about.
Yeah, I mean,
omega-3 fats.
Yeah, I mean, I look at people, what do they eat in the morning for breakfast, and what are they doing? And we look at the timing, the patterning of eating. So that's another one. We talk about meal patterning. So again, we really...
And what's the last kind of takeaway for this conversation on what someone can do?
Well, I'm going to give you two more. One B is that you need to start thinking about upgrading. And I think people love to upgrade. They love to upgrade their clothes, their cars, whatever it might be. But as you start upgrading your nutrients, you're putting those better nutrients in your body, and your body's going to work with you, not against you.
Okay.
And then from there, we move into, daily movement, because it's not about moving your body to burn calories. It's about moving your body to have healthier hormones. And so when I move my body, motion creates positive emotion, anxiety gets, it's all the stuff that we're talking about, mental health, because the mind and body are completely connected.
So that's to come back to the conversation of an individual comes in, they're obese, they've struggled with it, they say they're dieting, they're exercising. We say it all the time. We've seen diets, we've seen exercises. It's not specific to what you're trying to do. Could be you've been on the elliptical or the treadmill and you hate it. It's creating stress, causing inflammation. There's different ways to exercise or move. So I think that's a good point.
Yeah, we're trying to create a lifestyle that they can start to be able to. One of the things I put in here is learning how to pivot. So you can make changes depending on what you like or not like. And that's what we get sucked into, that we have to follow a prescription approach, whether it's a diet or a medication. And then if we don't know how to pivot, then we start all over again. And so that's really, we need to teach our society about lifestyle and health, and everybody needs to take more ownership. But it doesn't have to be painful. It can be enjoyable. It could be, all sorts of wonderful things. Because when people have their health, they have, that's the thing. They don't have their health, they don't have a whole lot. And part of this obesity conversations is about that.
So again, our takeaway, I think this is a tool. We don't want to discourage anyone that has had success and it's working. I think what we want, the 110 million people that maybe are thinking about this at this moment, including, I think, millions more that want to just do it for quick weight loss. There's a way to do it with a long-term satisfaction, sustainability, I think better results, because at the end of the day, when you think about obesity, it's categorized in this health bucket. And for me, health is defined as the absence of disease and illness. Boring. It's like such a bad definition for me. I look at health as being your best. How can you individually be your best? And I think, I may be a little bit on the fringe with this, but I think when they classified obesity as a disease, we've kind of just thrown our hands up. And I think there's good reasons, but I think the bad reason is now 110 million people have a disease that is extremely preventable, extremely reversible, just like type 2 diabetes. And
I think the other thing too, sometimes I think people they lose hope. And if you can take one thing at a time, remember everything begins at the cell level and everything starts percolating, from inside to outside. The body always heals from inside out. So when you're not losing weight right away, your body might be getting healthier and healthier and healthier. And eventually the weight will slowly get where you want it to be. Do you need to be ripped? No. It's all about creating a lifestyle that you can repeat, but also having a weight that you can feel comfortable with. And so most of the time when I sit down with a client, I'll ask them, so you're weighing 250 pounds today. What would you like to weigh? Many times they'll say 180. I don't think that's where we want to go. What if we could maintain between 225 and 230? And they're like, wow, I could do that. Yeah, because if you think you got to go down to 180 or whatever it is, you're like, I don't know if I could do that.
It's Mount Everest.
It's Mount Everest. So again, it's these incremental changes, create a lifestyle that you could like, one step at a time.
So yeah, the takeaway, we all have choices. We want to just be a guide. This was something that kind of fired us up. We wanted to explain our thoughts. Again, we'd love to hear comments, thoughts as always. And we'll see you again next time on the Rest, Eat, Move podcast. If you have any questions, shoot us an email, info@ontargetliving.com. We have our 21-day challenge going on. You can sign up at any time throughout the year. And happy to help. We'll see you again next time.